It was a 20 to 30% chance of surviving, according to the doctors.
How'd you almost die?
I was hit head on by a drunk driver at 70 miles per hour after I gave a speech at a Cutco sales conference. Well, the doctor said I'm never going to walk again, so I can't change that. It was 2 weeks after I came out of the coma that the doctors came in with routine x-rays and they go, we don't know how to explain this, Hal, but your body is healing. You create your own statistic in that way, and don't ever let some perceived authority tell you this is the way that it is. You go, hey, that's your opinion, buddy. Appreciate it, but I'm going to create the reality that I want.
You know, every morning for me is a miracle. I got to kiss the ground and say, hey, we made it another day.
Hey, this moment's perfect, man. This is it. This is everything.
Welcome to the Hard Way podcast with Joe De Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan Races. We're teaching you how to overcome your obstacles in your life the same way we teach our 10 million plus Spartans to overcome obstacles on the course. With insight from the smartest, most accomplished experts from every corner of the world. Get ready to elevate your life today.
Joe De Sena here, CEO and founder of Spartan and host of the Hard Way podcast. I've got a great guest for you today, Hal Elrod. He's written a book called The Miracle Morning. This guy has been killed or almost killed twice and survived. So maybe we could learn a thing or two on how to have that kind of resilience. Welcome aboard. How we doing?
Joe, man, it's great to. I saw you speak maybe at Genius Network. I'm not sure what event, but it was many years ago. So, yeah, man, honored to be on the show.
I'm clearly not a genius, so I must have snuck in. I must have snuck into that one.
You snuck into that one.
So you're in Texas now. You're just outside Austin?
Yeah, I grew up in California, and in 2016 we moved to Austin. Yeah.
Didn't everybody from California move to Texas?
I think so. We were like 4 years ahead though. They all started, I think, 2020.
You were the leader of the pack. It was like the reverse migration where we all went out there, I guess, during the gold rush. Everybody left for the Texas rush.
Yeah, the Texas tech rush. I guess that's part of it. Yeah.
What? Tell me. I'm just curious. I know this is not what we're going to talk about, but why did everybody leave California? Just the taxes, everything is just insane out there.
You know, my wife actually reached out to me, and she was like, "Hey, I don't like what California is doing in terms of trying to control our, medical, just some different things." And she said, what do you think about leaving California? And we had no idea where we were. I go, yeah, I'm just always a yes. I'm like, whatever, sure. Yeah. Okay. Let's try it. And I called my one of my best friends, Matt, and I told him that we were leaving. He goes, where are you going? I said, I have no idea. He said, why don't you, let me send you a link. And he sent me a link with the states in the US with no state income tax. He goes, you might as well start your list here, your search here, see if you can find one of these, and that'll save you, offset your move. So Texas was a quick land. We had a lot of friends here. I had some business associates, and so we love it. We moved from the city in Austin out into the country on a little bit of a ranch here a couple years ago.
Is it brown or you got grass out there? Or
right
what?
Now it's gorgeous, man. But most of there's a lot of brown. But we're in that perfect springtime where it's gorgeous, just green we got 30 acres. So I can see 30 acres of just green grass. And man, we got chickens and sheep and horses. And it's funny, man, we're like the city folk that moved to the country, and every day is kind of a blunder.
No, we did that. When I met my wife 25 years ago, we bought a farm up in Vermont.
Oh, nice.
And same thing. Out the back window is 30 flat acres of grass. And then there's a mountain behind that, and we had animals, and yeah, it's better than oceanfront, and for me anyway. I like looking at big fields. I don't know why.
No, I'm a lake guy. If I have to pick between ocean and lake, ocean's just the same thing. As far as you can see, it's just nothing. I love a beautiful lake with trees and mountains and green and brown. The whole thing. I'm with you.
So where'd you grow up?
Oakhurst, California, a small town, 30,000 people up near Yosemite National Park. And my parents actually bought a grocery store when I was 11 years old. And it was built in 1945 with the house attached. Like the house was on top and behind. So I grew up living in a grocery store. Like in the morning when we needed milk, we would just walk out our living room door and go get milk in our pajamas and then walk back inside. So it's kind of a cool way to grow up.
Did you work in the store?
Yeah. So at 11, my parents were like, all right, you got a job, $4.25 an hour, minimum wage, stocking shelves. And now you're paying for everything on your own. So yeah, at 11, they really empowered me to you have to work for everything. So, and then I eventually moved up to Bagger And then I moved up to checker, you know what I mean? So
it's a game changer, right? You take young kids and you give them that kind of responsibility and give them that knowledge. It's a game changer for later in life. Probably why you're successful is literally in that grocery store.
yeah, no, I think it made a huge impact for sure.
Then what happened? How'd you almost die? Tell us the story.
So the first time, 20 years old, I was hit head on by a drunk driver at 70 miles per hour after I gave a speech at a Cutco sales conference, which was my occupation at the time. I was a Cutco sales rep, and hit head on by a drunk driver at 70 miles an hour and found dead at the scene. My heart stopped beating for 6 minutes. Because when the car accident happened, I was trapped inside. I was pinned in the car with 11 broken bones, and so I was gushing blood out, the side of my body. And it took them an hour to cut the roof off the car with the jaws of life and pull me out. When they did, I had lost so much blood that I bled out. My heart stopped for 6 minutes. Rushed on a helicopter to the hospital, 6 days in a coma, and came out of the coma told I would never walk again. And that was obviously the greatest adversity that I had faced or could imagine facing. And I just had to decide how to deal with it. And I thought, well, I can't change that I was in a car accident, so I might as well make the best of it. And I decided if I'm in a wheelchair the rest of my life, I will be the happiest, most grateful person that anyone has ever seen in a wheelchair, because I'm in a wheelchair either way. But I'm not going to accept that as my fate. And so I'm going to maintain unwavering faith that I can walk again while I simultaneously accept that I might not. It's kind of an interesting dynamic, but I think that for most of us, if we could hold those two opposing ideas in our mind at the same time, it would really serve us, because the world isn't black and white. It is very nuanced. And I think that we've got to maintain faith in what's possible while we're at peace with whatever happens, right? And it's that balance where that's how you live kind of an enlightened life, where you're not affected or determined by what happens outside of you, but you're just rolling with the punches. You're optimistic, you're hopeful, hey, that didn't go out as planned, cool, right? And I just think that fluid way of living, of being at peace, is what allows us to deal with how crazy life can get.
I agree with you. Very hard, easy to say, hard to do, but boy, if you pull it off like it sounds like you have, game changing for your life.
I get very little credit for this. I learned something a year and a half before my car accident, and this makes it actually very easy. This is a framework that people can quickly implement to start practicing what I just said in a very non-specific way a minute ago. But it's called the 5-minute rule. And I learned this in my Cutco sales training, and it simply says when something goes wrong, it's okay to feel upset and sorry for yourself and whatever, but not for an extended period of time. Don't draw it out. Like, allow yourself to feel whatever comes up. And so I was taught by my manager to set my timer for 5 minutes and give myself 5 minutes to get angry, upset, cry, vent, bitch, moan, whatever. And then after 5-minute timer goes off, you say 3 very liberating words. Can't change it. It's an acknowledgement. I can't change what happened 5 minutes ago. So right now I got a simple choice. I can continue to dwell on it, wish it were different, be upset about it, which doesn't change anything. It just makes me miserable and prevents me from effectively moving forward. That's choice one. Whenever something happens, we can keep dwelling on it, resisting reality, wishing it were different. Or we can accept it. I can't change it, so I might as well be at peace with it. And that is arguably one of the most important choices we can ever make. Every moment when we're faced with anything from a major adversity, like I was in a car accident, I can't change it. So I can either be miserable about it, or I can be completely at peace and accept my reality exactly as it is. And then you can apply that in traffic. No, I'm late. I can't. No, I'm in traffic. And then you go, wait a minute. I can't change it. I'm going to be late. I can either enjoy every moment in this car and be totally at peace, right? I can be blissed out, or I can be stressed out. I can be frustrated. Either way, I get there late. And when you understand that's a microcosm for life, that when we live in a state of acceptance of the things we can't change, doesn't mean we're happy about all of them, but we can be at peace, which is far more powerful. Then we literally have emotional freedom, where we can go, nothing can determine my mental and emotional state except for me.
But that doesn't mean, the key here, that doesn't mean you don't do the work to try to walk again.
Yeah, that's it. It's you accept what you can't change, which is anything that's ever happened up until this point, but it's not what happens moving forward, right? So it's an important distinction you made, because I could have said, well, the doctor said I'm never going to walk again, so I can't change that. Well, whoa. How do they really know? And that's what I told my dad, because the doctors thought I was in denial because I was so happy and positive. And they're like, your son's not facing reality. He needs to face reality. And I said, Dad, the doctors might be experts in medicine, or whatever they do in their office, but they're not experts in me. Right. And only God knows whether I'm going to walk or, right. No one knows if I'm going to walk again. So I'm going to maintain faith that that is a possibility, because otherwise it's probably not. If I give up, then I give up. If I visualize walking and I affirm it and I pray about it and I imagine it and I imagine my cells and my body healing and I visualize taking that first step, maybe it's going to happen. And Joe, it was 2 weeks after I came out of the coma that the doctors came in with routine x-rays and they go, we don't know how to explain this, Hal, but your body is healing remarkably. And we're going to let you take your first step today in therapy. So I went from never walk again to just a few weeks after the crash, I took my first step. And I absolutely believe that it's that, accepting, being at peace with what happened. So I don't, put all this negative emotional energy, which is harmful for your cells and your body. So I accept it. I'm at peace, right? But I'm going to focus on what's possible, even if the doctors say that they don't know that it is.
I love it. How many people, what percentage of people, when faced with that kind of adversity, just tap out and accept their fate, right? They just accept it and they don't do the work.
And you can't, I think that we've been conditioned to believe what people in authority, supposed authority, positions of authority, we've been conditioned since we were children, right? You listen to the teacher, don't talk back, right? I pledge allegiance to the flag, right? We were conditioned to listen to people in authority, positions of perceived authority. But a doctor is just a human being that went to school and learned a bunch of stuff. Great, right? No doctor on the planet, no human being on the planet fully understands what the human organism is capable of, right? And we have so many stories of call them miracles, call them what you want. But to your point, I think that people, they give that authority. Oh, the doctor said, oh, they gave me a statistic. Like when I was diagnosed with cancer at age 37, it was a 20 to 30% chance of surviving, according to the doctors. If 100 people get my cancer, 20 to 30 of them survive and 70 to 80 die, right? And so my wife was terrified at that statistic. And I said, sweetheart, this was on day one. I said, I live by this thing that I call this thing the miracle equation. It's the philosophy that I live by. And I said, or one of them. And I said, sweetheart, I live by the miracle equation. I believe that there's a 100% chance that I will be among the 20 to 30% of the people that survive the cancer. This global statistic is based on every person, including those that are really unhealthy, those that give up on day one, those that continue to smoke or drink or, I'm a healthy person. My mindset is going to be bulletproof. I'm going to meditate every day on healing. I'm going to juice. I'm going to take supplements. I'm going to do everything in my power to beat this cancer. And there's a 100% chance that I'll be among the 20 to 30% because I'm going to do everything that they do and more, and that was my mindset. And so to your point, you create your own statistic in that way, and don't ever let some perceived authority tell you this is the way that it is. You go, hey, that's your opinion, buddy. Appreciate it. But I'm going to create the reality that I want.
And some people would respond and say, well, I have a friend that did everything just like Hal did it, and he died anyway, or he's still sick. And wouldn't you rather have known that you did everything you could, right? Than just submitting? Well,
and it's like I was telling my son yesterday. So I'm teaching my son's 11 years old, and I just finally got him into basketball, which selfishly that's Dad's favorite sport to play. So we get to play. We have a court in our backyard, and I was telling him, he was going, "Oh man, I'm just off today, Dad. I can't make a shot. See, I missed another one." I go, "Son," I said, no. If you say you're not going to make a shot, you're less likely to make a shot. You need to tell yourself, I'm going to make the next shot. And if you miss it, say, I'm going to make the next shot. I'm even and here's the thing, you're increasing the odds. I said, nobody, not even Michael Jordan makes every shot, but the people that leverage their, every tool at their disposal, increase the odds that they're going to make the shot, increase the odds they're going to beat cancer. I really believe that I beat cancer. If I would have just done what the doctors say, the odds are I would have died. But I relentlessly researched every holistic practice known to man. I did 3 coffee enemas a week. I took 70 supplements a day. I did lymphatic massage. I did ozone sauna. I meditated in a state of complete healing. I visualized. I read books, you name it. I did everything. And I believe in my heart of hearts, because I was close to death. I was, in the ER, 105-degree fever multiple times, no immune system because of the chemo. I mean, on and on. So I was this close to death. And if I wasn't doing everything in my power to survive and taking ownership, not delegating it to a doctor, I don't think I would have made it. So to your point, are there people that did everything and they still didn't make it? Yeah, and who knows? Who knows why? Maybe inside they gave up. Maybe they were ready to go. Who knows? Right? Just to your point. Yeah, I want to do everything in my power so that at the end I go, because that's the thing. That to me is success. If you end your life and you look back and you go, I didn't achieve everything that I wanted, but I gave it everything I had. I think you get to go. I think you get to die feeling fulfilled.
1,000%. Whether you lose a match, whether your business, like your marriage, whatever it may be, if you gave it 1,000%, you got no regrets.
That's it. 100%.
You wrote a book. Talk to us about it.
So to be clear, so I wrote The Miracle Morning in 2000. Well, I published it on 12/12/2012, December 12th, 2012. I self-published The Miracle Morning back then. It was this morning routine that had changed my life, and I felt a sense of responsibility to share it with other people because I had already shared it with my coaching clients. I had about 14 coaching clients, business coaching, and 13 out of 14 of them, it transformed their life like it did mine. And I thought, okay, if it worked for them, it worked for me. Most of us weren't morning people. I have a responsibility to share this with the world. I self-published it and I just kept sharing it. And it went on to sell over 2 million copies, translated into 42 languages as a self-published book. This last December, 3 months ago, this one I'm holding in my hand, this is the updated and expanded edition. So we published, over the last 10 years, I've done 4,000 miracle mornings. And I've learned a lot. And so I thought, man, I really have always wanted to do this updated edition where I share everything that I've learned, not only from my own experience, but there are millions of Miracle Morning practitioners, hundreds of thousands who communicate with me over email. And we have so many, not only stories of success, but like questions like, Hal, hey, I read the book, but I don't get this part, or this was confusing, or right. And so I've always gone, man, if only I could have knew what I knew now. And so the new edition has 70 new pages of content. I rewrote almost every chapter. It has 2 new chapters, the Miracle Evening and the Miracle Life. So it's the whole new and improved edition that just came out.
We're very similar in that our whole mission is to change lives. As you know, change doesn't happen on its own. You've got to do the work. It's got to hurt a little bit. And so we get people out doing these crazy races. I'm happy to offer all your Miracle Morning folks a free race. Get them out, have them apply what they're learning with you, right, in their new life, and get them out crawling under barbed wire, climbing a rope, doing stuff that's really uncomfortable. But
totally.
But what we've found over 25 years of doing this, but maybe start to change.
No, I love that idea. I mean, that, for me, I mentioned to you before we started recording that I did an ultra marathon. And to be really, really clear, the reason I did that is it's ironic. I hated running. Right. It wasn't like, I love running. And so I've done a 5K, but now I want to do a half marathon. And then I want to work up to a marathon. No, it was, I hate running. I've never run outside of the required 1 mile in PE class every semester, right? And I hated it. I wasn't a runner. And so when I started doing the Miracle Morning, and I became obsessed with, I just called them level 10 goals, right? Which is just like on a scale of 1 to 10, what would be a goal that would stretch me all the way to a 10 that is so far beyond my, capacity, anything I've ever done before, that if I achieved it, it would be like a miracle, right? And so I had 2 friends that had run ultra marathons. And I was like, well, if they could do it, it's possible. I could do it, I guess. I hate running, though. I don't know. And so I ended up committing to do this ultra marathon because I thought, what would it make of me? It's like that Jim Rohn philosophy, right? Like, you don't set the goal to reach the goal. You set the goal for what it will make of you to give it everything you have, whether you reach it or not, to achieve that. And so, so that's why, I pursued and ran an ultra marathon.
And that's what we see a lot of people do. How do people find you?
MiracleMorning.com is the hub for all things. You can watch the Miracle Morning documentary, which features Mel Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Layla Ali, Robert Kiyosaki, all these amazing people and their morning rituals. And then halfway through filming the documentary, I was diagnosed with cancer. My director kept filming the entire journey. So the movie takes a unexpected turn about an hour in. So the movie is free at MiracleMorning.com. There's a Miracle Morning app that's free. And then, of course, you can get the books anywhere books are sold and link there from the miraclemorning.com website as well.
You know, every morning for me is a miracle. I got to kiss the ground and say, hey, we made it another day.
Yeah, I was taking the trash out last night. I told my wife this morning, and it was like the sun was setting and the wind was just slightly blowing the trees. And I just stopped. I had 2 big garbage cans. I stopped and I went, thank you, God. Like, this is the best moment of my life. It's a miracle. Every moment's a miracle if you choose to see it that way. And most of us are, we're comparing every moment with this ideal. And so we're never really fulfilled in the moment because like, oh man, I could be here. I should be there. I'm not where this person is. You know what I mean? Versus like, hey, this moment's perfect, man. This is it. This is everything.
Hey, listen, Hal, I've heard the Miracle Morning's made up of 6 practices. Let's dive into those if you don't mind.
Yeah, so these are organized and known as the S.A.V.E.R.S. That's the acronym, S-A-V-E-R-S. And these are 6 of the most timeless, proven personal development practices in the history of humanity. And to paraphrase something Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he had me on Rich Dad Radio. And at the end of the interview, he said, Hal, you named the Miracle Morning correctly. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, any one of the S.A.V.E.R.S will change your life. And he said, every successful person on the planet swears by at least 1 or 2 of the S.A.V.E.R.S, maybe 3. But he said, I've never met anyone that did all 6 practices, especially in one ritual. And he said, I've been doing it for 3 weeks now. And he said, and it's creating miracles in my business, in my marriage, and in my health. So I thought, all right, if Robert Kiyosaki, if it worked for him, shoot. So here are the S.A.V.E.R.S. The first S is for silence. Starting your day with peaceful, purposeful, intentional silence so that you can lower your stress level. You can tap into God, depending on your spiritual or religious beliefs. But ultimately, when do our best ideas come to us? When do our biggest breakthroughs come? They come in periods of silence, right? In the shower, staring off into the sunset, which the problem is our smartphones have robbed us of what used to be consistent periods of silence. So starting your day with this period of silence where you get to just calm your mind and you can journal, you can listen, you can pray, you can do breath work, you can meditate, right? And of course, in the book, I break down how to do, each of those and kind of give you a buffet of options. The A is for affirmations. And affirmations, I think, are the most effective and misunderstood form of personal development. Meaning, we've been taught to do affirmations that are inauthentic. Like, if you're struggling financially, just say, I am wealthy. I am wealthy, right? Or say, I am a money magnet. Money flows effortlessly into my life. And right, like, that's not how it works. In the book, I teach you 3 steps to create affirmations that are based in truth, that are practical, actionable, and results-oriented. Step 1, affirm what you're committed to. Step 2, affirm why it's a must for you. And step 3, affirm which specific actions you will take and when. And if you follow that formula as a parent in your finances, in your health, what are you committed to? Why is it a must for you? Which actions will you take and when to ensure that you follow through? That to me is the most important, the anchor, if you will, of the Miracle Morning. The V is for visualization. Just like the greatest athletes in the world visualize performing at their best before they step on the court or step on the field, we can do the same before we step into the kitchen with our family or into the office. The E is for exercise in S.A.V.E.R.S. You don't need to go to the gym in the morning. You don't need to run a Spartan race every morning, right? But you got to get your body moving. I mean, you've got to, even if 60 seconds of jumping jacks is like, that will transform your mental an emotional capacity and your physical energy, like that quick, that short. Move your body every morning. The R in S.A.V.E.R.S is for reading. And we're all one book away from transforming our life, whether it's your marriage, your health, your finances, or your mornings, right? One book can change everything. And then the final S in S.A.V.E.R.S is for scribing, which is a fancy word for writing or journaling. And every morning, the power of putting pen to paper or typing it if you use it on your computer, your phone. But writing down anything that you are harboring that's causing you emotional distress that you need to let go of. That's the first thing I write down. Because when you get it out of your head and put it on paper, you create separation that gives you permission to let go of that stress and that fear, that anxiety, because you've got it captured in that journal, or you can revisit it whenever you need to, but you don't have to harbor that pain anymore. And then I write down what I'm grateful for, and then I look at my to-do list and I write down the most important thing that I need to do for the day. And I'll put a bow on that by saying that practice, I do it in as little as 6 minutes on days where I'm pressed for time. But my average is like 30 minutes, and millions of people around the world do a 30-minute to 60-minute miracle morning.
I'm gonna add a couple of letters to your program. I want everybody to take either a cold shower or a cold plunge, and I want everybody to drink a bunch of warm or room temperature water when they wake up.
I love that. Thank you, brother. Those are good additions.
You got to get a W in there somehow. All right. Well, you're awesome. Thanks for coming. I'm going to check out the book myself. I have not read the book, shamefully, but I do have a miracle morning, like I said, every morning. So I'm excited. Thanks for doing what you do.
Hey, Joe. Appreciate it, brother. You too.